Skywatch TV. Special investigative report.
You're in the middle of a battlefield, whether you know it or not. Welcome to Skywatch TV. I'm Derek Gilbert. We're beginning the first of 5-week series on the supernatural war that is raging around us and some of the really insidious devices that the enemy has arrayed against us, using science, in fact, as a tool to perhaps open a portal to another dimension. Joining me on the panel today as we begin this series, the president and CEO of Skywatch TV, Tom Horn.
Good to be here.
The author of Quantum Creation and Cherubim Chariots, Josh Peck.
Hey, Derek.
And the Skywatch TV science advisor, my best friend, my wife, Sharon K. Gilbert.
Hi, honey.
And the topic of the conversation is the new book by Josh Peck and Tom Horn, Abaddon Ascending. Gentlemen, a compelling title. Let's start there. Why Abaddon Ascending?
Well, since you wrote Apollyon Rising 2012, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, I mean, and people should understand that that is the only similarity between this book and some years ago when I wrote Apollyon Rising, is that we are talking ultimately about that same character that, according to the scripture, is the king over some very terrifying things that scholars believe is somewhere within the belly of the earth. Mm-hmm. But this book specifically takes on what's happening right now in the world. What's been going on with CERN? Why are particle physicists so intrigued by this idea? Sergio Bertolucci, who's the head of their science there at CERN, saying we are going to open a doorway into a parallel universe, and something could come through, or we may send something through.
He's coming right out and saying it?
He's saying it, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he said that in an interview with the press. We are going to open a doorway, and he said behind it could be unknown unknowns.
So,
that sounds like Dick Cheney.
Donald Rumsfeld.
Oh, it was Rumsfeld. You're right.
Well, that explains the subtitle for the book, which is The Ancient Conspiracy at the Center of CERN's Most Secretive Mission. Ooh. Now, ostensibly, what is the Large Hadron Collider, which is where they conduct these experiments at CERN? Josh, what are they trying to do there, or what do they tell us they're trying to do?
Most of the stuff that they are doing, they're not really keeping secret. They're hiding it in plain sight, because they'll come out with quotes like that they want to open a doorway. They want to communicate with extra dimensions. It's mind-blowing stuff that they don't really make a secret out of it, but the real secret is in convincing the world that things like quantum physics are too complicated for the normal layman to get their head around, so don't even bother trying. Mm-hmm. And then that leaves them in a position where they can do whatever they want at places like the Large Hadron Collider.
It's similar to the position of the Roman Catholic Church through most of the Middle Ages, that the scriptures could only be entrusted to the clergy,
yes.
and that the lay people were not allowed to read the scriptures because it was beyond them to understand, and they needed to have them interpreted for them. So in the same way, this Church of Science is doing the same thing. You don't understand quantum physics, let us explain it to you.
Exactly. That is exactly right. Huh. And for the audience, quantum physics is for everybody, because quantum physics is the crux of God's creation. It's the building blocks.
Amen.
It's what God used to create everything, including us. It's accessible to everybody, and it's a fascinating study. But some physicists have taken that, monopolized it, and convinced the world that, don't even bother trying. So at places like the LHC, to answer your second question, basically what the LHC is, it's the Large Hadron Collider. It's basically a big particle collider. It's 17 miles in circumference, and on the border of Switzerland and France. They're using these giant magnets to collide particles to, in a sense, create new particles. They've admitted to wanting to open up doors, use gravitons even to communicate with higher dimensions, or a lot of really strange stuff.
Were not some of the employees at CERN involved in that viral video that everybody saw?
Yes.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, apparently, and there's a couple different versions of the story, so I think we're still kind of trying to figure it all out. But the official version, if we choose to accept it, is that researchers at CERN got together to pull this prank of a human sacrifice right in front of the Shiva statue. Mm-hmm. And even if that is the real story, and it very well could be that it was all just a big hoax and it was just a joke, it was the researchers. It wasn't college kids that broke into the institution or anything. It was the actual researchers doing this mock thing. So why are they even thinking about that?
They're just trying to just pull a joke on conspiracy theorists around the world and just
Or
say,
maybe
oh,
it's deeper than that.
Well, yeah, because for people who did not see, and they can go on right now, of course, they can go on YouTube, they can go Google it, and they can find the video and watch it for themselves. And you see these dark, hooded characters walking out in front of the Shiva statue. They bring a woman in there. It appears that they stab her and they murder her, and it's a satanic sacrifice. But the thing that came to my mind was, first of all, even if it was a hoax, why would credentialed individuals, with passes to be able to get into CERN, employees, why would they be conducting a dark parody of a human sacrifice?
Yes.
I mean, this says something about the mentality. I mean, behind the scene, what are they talking about amongst themselves, trying to open a doorway? And then it also takes you to the Gotthard tunnel ceremony, where it seems like this same mindset is going on there in Switzerland.
That whole ceremony was about using paganism to bring something up from the depths, and through blood sacrifice. It starts at one portal, because it's a dual track. You have a portal at one place and a portal at the other. So they started at the northern portal, the southern portal, I think, and then went to the north. And during that journey, they show at the very end this long ceremony that has a massive display of footage that they have created. And they use dancers that are suspended from wires to make it look like they're digging into the earth. And they uncover something after the deaths of 9 people who died, and this was true, 9 people died. But they show 3 in this recreation. And it shows them falling down the tunnel, giant hands reaching up to pull them down. And once they're all down, this gigantic entity emerges. And all the dancers in the front are reenacting war games. They're enacting sex magic. They're bringing forth the triune goddess, the triple goddess. And she is mating with a horned god who may be Hernunos himself, Hern of the UK area, also Krampus of the Teutonic regions. And they give birth. They're trying to bring something up from the earth.
Now, just to provide context, the Gotthard Base Tunnel ceremony was not a CERN event.
No, it was not.
But it was. It's located in the same area, Switzerland, of course.
Not far.
There are those in the media, and I'm looking at an article from Breitbart, which is traditionally, or typically rather, a conservative news site, but they try to explain it away as well. This is just the Swiss culture. All of these elements in this ceremony are elements of the Swiss Christmas traditions. And so it's not satanic. Nothing to see here. Move along, move along.
They didn't really watch it. It's a 6-hour-long video.
Right, and you're right.
I watched the whole thing.
And it just says to me that the author of that piece does not really understand. And this is why we're communicating this to you, because we need to understand that we are in the middle of a battlefield, and there are elements out there that are being presented to us in plain sight, but saying nothing to see here. This is just culture. This is not satanic. This is not Antichrist. I caught another connection I thought was really interesting. The number 17 is affiliated with the Green Man, Osiris.
Which is Hernunos.
Which is Hernunos. But 17-mile circumference to CERN. It took 17 years to complete the Gotthard Base Tunnel.
It was actually originally designed back in the 47, I think. An interesting year. A lot of things happened 47, 48, including the Babylon working.
The Babylon working with Jack Parsons.
Yes, which is Aleister Crowley. Talk about wanting to bring something up.
Well, and that point about Aleister Crowley is important for another reason, and that is what I said a moment ago, that even if this was only a hoax, even if it was only a parody, they're at CERN to be conducting what appeared to be a human sacrifice. Aleister Crowley, Anton LaVey, the Church of Satan, they've all written extensively about the power of parody, that when you're conducting a ritual, the dark Satanists would say blood makes it even better, makes it even more powerful, especially innocent blood, the blood of a child, the blood of a virgin. But even without that, conducting the ritual is potent. It has the potential to invoke something, to awake something.
Yeah.
One of the experiments that they conducted.
The Awake experiment.
And during the Awake experiment, again, people can go and Google. You don't want to be careful of the hoax stuff that's out there, right? Where you got UFOs flying out of vortexes, and this is stuff people made. But there really was phenomenon going on in the sky close to CERN when they were conducting the Awake, and it was actually very frightening looking stuff. I mean, it looked strange. It did look like some kind of great light or something was trying to peer through the clouds.
Yeah.
There was kind of a spinning motion, in the clouds. So I would say it's not a coincidence. I would say that when you have people at CERN conducting satanic rituals in the open, telling us they want to open a portal, then in Switzerland having the Gotthard Tunnel, I'm not going to say it right, am I? But the tunnel opening, I can't speak German, right? But it's a very clear message. They are trying to invoke those old gods. And if you watch that video through to the end, this horned demon thing becomes king of the earth.
He does. He's crowned, and then he dies.
That's right.
And at the very end, the singers and the dancers get together, and they're all bringing their offerings to the new god. And this new god, again, was born through a mating ritual with the triune goddess, which is just another word for Diana or Artemis
or Hecate, the queen of witchcraft.
Exactly, this triple goddess. And excuse me, on the big screen, they show the roots, not the tree, not the branches, the roots. It's all about underground,
they show what's
worshiping
underground.
the things underground. It's an inversion of what God designed.
And of course, from the Bible, we know what's underground.
We do.
And we know that it is going to be invoked, and it is going to appear. Thus, the title of the book, Abaddon Ascending.
Yes, exactly.
That is the title of the book. We're going to continue this conversation and discuss the possibility of communicating with other dimensions, which Josh alluded to earlier. What experiments are taking place at CERN that might allow us to communicate to a higher dimension? Abaddon Arising, the ancient conspiracy at the center of CERN's most secretive mission. We'll tell you how you can get this and the 2 other books that are part of this 5-week special investigative series next.
Many ancient prophets foresaw Abaddon rising from the underworld in this very age. The satanic human sacrifice by CERN employees in front of the god Shiva was called parody. But all occult masters understand that symbolism was a powerful invitation for a doorway to be opened at CERN.
The secret origins of CERN are nefarious to the core.
Sergio Bertolucci, the science director at CERN, admits that they're trying to open a doorway to a parallel reality, and they hope that something, unknown unknowns, he calls them, will come through it. And CERN was built right over Apolliacum, where the ancients believed the doorway to Abaddon and the bottomless pit exists.
Is the bottomless pit from Revelation chapter 9 about to open? The biggest and most secretive investigation ever is set to be published, disclosing what no report has done before in Abaddon Ascending.
Technology today is being developed so that we can communicate with extra-dimensional entities.
The ancient conspiracy at the center of CERN's most secretive mission. But how will God's people, the remnant, prevail over the principalities of darkness during the final showdown between heaven and hell? Though hell may have its directive, heaven has its imperative. Increasing evidence from around the globe of miracles, healings, and prophetic visions indicate that God is already raising up an army of believers for the greatest awakening yet. Coming this December, internationally acclaimed best-selling authors and researchers Dr. Thomas Horn, author and researcher of quantum physics Josh Peck, college president Dr. Michael Lake, investigative researcher Reverend Donna Howell, and the host of Southwest Radio Ministries, Dr. Larry Spargimino. A research finale so huge and important it had to be published in a new 3-book collection. Abaddon Ascending, the ancient conspiracy at the center of CERN's most secretive mission, the Sheerith Imperative, empowering the remnant to overcome the gates of hell.
He always has a plan. He's playing chess while the devil's playing checkers.
Final Fire. Is the next great awakening right around the corner?
There are signs all around the world right now that we are on the cusp of the next great spiritual awakening.
There is revival breaking out now where there has never been the faith.
This 3-book collection available December 6, 2016. For more details, log on to skywatchtv.com. Coming exclusively from Skywatch TV for a very limited time starting December 6, 2016. When you purchase the new 3-book special investigative research collection, Abaddon Ascending, Final Fire, and the Sheerith Imperative from skywatchtv.com, you'll receive the largest giveaway in Skywatch TV history. An unprecedented value of over $400 in free books, DVDs, audio files, and the never-before-released data DVD library from Dr. Michael Lake on the Sheerith Imperative, which includes 56 Christian classic works on PDF. All 28 episodes in Dr. Michael Lake's Understanding the Kingdom audio series, the latest version of Eastward for Windows, the 3-part Into the Multiverse television series where Josh Peck interviews Dr. Michael Lake on the Sheerith Imperative, and nearly 3 hours of bonus interviews on video with Dr. Lake on the Sharpening Report. For your library or to give away as gifts. Also included in this biggest giveaway in Skywatch TV history are Josh Peck's full-length 2016 DVD presentations, The Quantum Future and Extra-Dimensional UFOs. Dr. Michael Lake's full-length 2016 DVD presentations, Jericho, The Anatomy of a Stronghold, and The Shinar Directive. The new 5-part Skywatch TV special investigative report on the books, Abaddon Ascending, Final Fire, and the Sheerith Imperative. But that's not all. You'll also receive the new Best of Skywatch Television on DVD. Over 5.5 hours of the most popular episodes in Skywatch TV history. Travel through the multiverse on the new Best of Into the Multiverse on DVD. Over 5 hours of audio with Josh Peck on the coming Technocalypse. The best-selling book, The Final Roman Emperor. An incredible 5-year subscription to the Skywatch magazine. 2 brand new free gift books, and the never-before-released data DVD library from Dr. Michael Lake on the Sheerith Imperative. For your library or to give away as gifts, an unprecedented value of over $400 in never-before-offered free products. This is the biggest giveaway in Skywatch TV history, and it's yours absolutely free when you purchase the new 3-book special investigative research collection, Abaddon Ascending, Final Fire, and the Sheerith Imperative for only $39.95 plus shipping from skywatchtv.com, beginning December 6, 2016. But be advised, this astonishing promotion is limited to first come, first serve while supplies last. So it's urgent that beginning December 6, 2016, you place your order for the new 3-book special investigative research collection. This offer is on a limited time basis and will end without notification. So be sure to visit skywatchtv.com to follow the updates. In the countdown to the biggest giveaway in Skywatch TV history, the unprecedented value of over $400 in never-before-offered free products while supplies last. For more details, log on to skywatchtv.com.
Welcome back to Skywatch TV. I'm Derek Gilbert. Joining me on the panel, Sharon Gilbert, Josh Peck, Tom Horn. Josh and Tom, the authors of the new book, Abaddon Arising, The Ancient Conspiracy at the Center of CERN's Most Secretive Mission. Now, Josh, you mentioned something early on which I find fascinating, which is the experiments with gravitons and the possibility that we can use gravity to communicate with other dimensions.
Yeah, and we've even seen this idea popularized in Hollywood, like in movies like Interstellar. And when I first started researching this, I thought that we were probably a couple decades away from even getting close, because the first step to be able to utilize something like that is to discover it, you know.
Sure.
Well, not long ago, LIGO, which is a big detector basically, detected for the first time ever actual gravity waves, which was unprecedented and a phenomenal discovery. But it really set into motion, I think, this chain of events that's going to lead toward using gravitons, because the weird thing about gravitons is they naturally can escape into extra dimensions. So using those as a type of binary system by altering the spin or something like that, to try to send a message to a higher dimension.
You could send a digital code that way,
Yes.
by binary code,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
And the technology, as soon as they're able to utilize gravitons in that way, see, now they have detected gravity waves. The next step is replicating that in the lab. Once they're able to do that, and once they have enough understanding of how gravitons work and can be utilized, they'll be able to just send them on their way, what they already naturally can do. So the technology exists now, from what we understand. So my question is, what are they going to be communicating with?
Yeah.
yeah.
Who is on the other side?
Well, it's obvious from prophecy, from Scripture, that the entity that is underground now, that is in prison now, can't break out. He has to be let out. And we see in Scripture that an angel comes down and has a key to the bottomless pit. Is that key literally a key, or can that key be knowledge?
Well, here's the interesting thing about Abaddon. It says that he's the king of the bottomless pit, but it never says anywhere that he's in the bottomless pit.
So
with
he could be
the
free
locusts.
roaming the earth
He
now.
could be, and
Yeah.
he could just be the king of that
Did
place.
you just see like a light bulb go off over my head? Because seriously, I've never heard anyone mention
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it never says that anywhere. So he could be out now, but I do think that the opening of the abyss is going to, it's going to give him his army,
Yeah.
the locusts of Revelation 9. But I think it's also going to allow power. That term, that word key in Greek can also mean permission or authority. And we read in the very beginning of Revelation that Jesus is the one that has the keys of death and hell. So at some point, Jesus is giving permission because of a judgment. He's judging the world, and he's giving permission for this angel to open this abyss.
There's also something connected to that is implied in Revelation 9, where it's talking about the key to the bottomless pit and the mighty angel. And Abaddon, ascending, name of the book. Keep plugging the name of the book, right?
Yeah.
But in Revelation 9, so these things come up out of the earth, these insectoids that are transgenic, that are like parts of different kinds. They're torturing all of humanity. But that chapter ends, verse 21, it says, about the people who have committed all these sins and that are being judged by these insectoids and being tortured, it says, and yet they repented not of their sorcery,
Sorceries.
which is the Greek word pharmakia, from which we make pharmaceutical. But the whole idea around the ancient pharmakia was that this was like an illegal activity in which you're trying to create, through science, through the use of drugs, through mind expansion, you're trying to open a doorway to put yourself into contact with what's in these other dimensions. So how does this maybe tie to what CERN is trying to do, where it says, and yet they repented not of their pharmakia, of their attempt to open a doorway. And it's almost as if that text is saying, you asked for it, you got it.
Exactly.
Let the door open, and now you are in contact, right?
I'm finding this really fascinating because there's an aspect of the research I've been doing for a forthcoming book that relates to this, because Revelation 9 is where we also read about after the abyss is open and these locust-like demons, which are what we see as Joel's army in Joel chapter 2, I would argue. The four angels bound to the great river, the river Euphrates are released at the same time. I was just reading an academic paper the other day that argues that the book of Daniel is a record of the war between Yahweh, the God of the Israelites and now the God of Christians, and Marduk, the God of the Babylonians. And that when that final stroke of that war where Marduk is defeated and his kingdom Babylon is turned over to the Medes and the Persians was the episode at Belshazzar's feast, where you see the finger of God writing on the wall, many tekel parson. Yeah. Is it possible that one of these entities in the river Euphrates is the god Marduk?
Oh.
Well, certainly, again, the tunnel ceremony, They are invoking those old gods. They are calling for those old gods to come through
Absolutely.
a dimension. They even illustrate a portal, a doorway
They do.
being opened,
And
right?
all these eyes looking at people.
right.
It is the strangest ceremony. It's very disconcerting. If
So
you
what
watch
I
it.
would say, the irony here, Derek, is that probably the occultists believe that more than many Christians do.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Right?
Well, and that's why we're doing
That's
this program,
sad.
because that's where we need to get educated and get caught up with what the occultists already know. In fact, I heard a
Yeah.
gentleman who was familiar with the occult a couple of years ago made this observation that occultists who understand that they're in the middle of a spiritual war against Christ and Christians view most Christians as people who believe in, or who are practicing a very weak form of magic, and that we don't even know that we're, now of course we're not, it's not magic. We understand we can already communicate with other dimensions through the power of prayer.
Right.
Amen.
But the occultists at least get this part of it right. They understand that they're in the middle of a spiritual battlefield with their gods warring against Yahweh and the angel of Yahweh, Jesus Christ. We Christians need to understand that too and call on him in order to counter this type of deception.
Well, and this has always been the goal of the occultists, is the raising ceremony. The Freemasons, the raising of Osiris, right? In ancient Egypt, Pharaoh, the raising of Osiris. And we know that the magicians of Egypt were also very powerful and could do many things that were supernatural or borderline supernatural. So this has always been the goal, and it still is today. I mean, the prophecy of on the Great Seal of the United States looks
Yes.
forward to the time when, and actually that's Osiris Apollyon. Apollyon is the Greek way that you would say Abaddon, right? But Apollyon's also identified in the Scripture as the spirit that's going to inhabit the Antichrist. Paul says he will be the son of perdition. That's the Greek word Apollo, Apollyon.
Yes.
And Revelation, isn't it 17:8, somewhere right there, says that it will rise up out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, Apollyon. So the Bible tells us that what these occultists are trying to accomplish, at some point it is going to happen. Their devotion is to that God. They think this new golden age of the gods is going to triumph over Yahweh. And so you're right, it is a battle between the old gods and the new gods. I think it was Zechariah, when he prophesied the coming of the Christ at the end of time, talks about that he will be at war with the old gods,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Well, the old gods coming back, that has been a